Today's episode is brought to you by Ridge Wallet. Now, Ridge Wallet, it's that front pocket carry. And a while back, they had a man named Mickey, and he had cystic fibrosis, and that's when your lungs they don't want to be lungs anymore, and they start looking for the Lord. But you still need them. And Mickey got on the transplant list, and we became associated with him here at this past weekend. And now it has been 1 year since Trick Lung Mickey got them new body bags, them lungs, And this is the Transplantaversary Extravaganza. So Trick Lung Mickey's Uno Año con el Aero Bolsas airbags. So we're excited he's here today. Ridge Wallet, they took care of his flight. They put him up here in Los Angeles, and they gave him transportation and pocket money for his time here in LA. He was at the Comedy Store last night, just checking out the vibes, and here he is today in studio. Thank you, Ridge Wallet. As always, you can support Ridge Wallet. They got front pocket carries. They got them bags. They got knives, that knifery, So in case somebody's coming at you, and you can get them. So they got that. Safety first. And the code there is ridgewallet.com/hitter. Again, that's ridgewallet.com, and use that code HITTER. And today's guest, it's been a year after his lung transplant. We're going to learn a little bit about his journey with cystic fibrosis and just get to see him here today in the flesh. Ladies and gentlemen, Trick Lung Mickey.
And let myself all wild. Shine that light on me. I'll sit and tell you my stories.
I've been there, dude. I did probably most people did puberty in a couple of months. I bet 8 years of puberty, bro.
Yeah.
Like
8 years?
Yeah, dude, I was a slow guy. You could hear one hair on a mustache, and then, what I'm saying,
Dude,
3 weeks later.
I get you, man. I still feel like I'm still going through it.
Do you really?
Like a second one.
So what happened? So coming to that, we got Trick Lung Mickey here right now, and man, thanks for being here with us today, man.
Of course, man. Thank you very much for having me, man.
Appreciate it. Mickey and I have been in communication with each other for maybe, probably about 20 months. And this is a 1 year now you have since you had a lung transplant because you had cystic fibrosis.
Yeah, that's right, man.
Right.
That's right.
So you got basically, it's almost like getting a set of nuts in your chest. Does it feel like that?
No, not nuts, but definitely something
like
around.
Air nuts.
Yeah, I would say, dude, we could get to the whole sexual thing later, but it's definitely something like nuts. I got more testosterone for sure.
Really?
For sure. Yeah.
Dude, you seem so different than the last time that I saw you, man.
In
Because
what
when
way?
I saw you
tell me about
in Tacoma, I thought you were going to, maybe die. You thought you were. I didn't just think you were. You said you might.
I think that people were rumoring in the crowd when we were there, kind of a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
No, I'd have felt that too. Like, oh man, because I had that. You remember how we would talk about, man, my skin just looked a little off. Something
yeah, you're a
was
little
off.
jaundice.
Yeah.
Jaundice, man.
My eyes were dark and I was just light skinned.
Yeah.
And I'm half Filipino, so there's something like that plays into it. But I guess what I'm getting at is I didn't look the best for sure, man. I didn't look the best.
Well, yeah, you just seemed like you were going through it. I remember you couldn't, I didn't ask you too many questions because you get caught up in a long sentence and you just, you had to take a break. You had to hold on to somebody's shoulder almost to get through a long sentence.
Man.
You were limited air.
Yeah, it was tough, man. Limited everything. Limited participation in life.
Right.
Man.
Was it really?
Absolutely, man. I remember Theo, I just want to tell you, man, one of the first things that you said that I knew was really important to me. There's a lot of people I've talked to about this, but I remember you asked specifically, you said, what's the most difficult thing that you deal with cystic fibrosis? And I said, the isolation.
Yeah.
And first of all, man, no one's ever asked me that beforehand.
Really?
No, man. That's how I knew I was talking to someone who, and I know that you got a sister who's done a liver transplant, correct?
Yeah, she had a liver transplant when we were growing up. And I remember your skin tone, you guys almost looked a little bit similar then, because there's just something there's this jaundice kind of thing takes over the body, I guess, or something,
Yeah, man. I think that your body just attempts to take care of itself in the only way that it knows how to.
Yeah.
Right. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that you don't really focus on your aesthetic, right? You're just trying to live. You're just trying to live. And regarding the participation thing, man, is that, dude, when people are watching the ball game or something like that, and when people talk about issues that they're having in life, all you're really thinking about is someone with cystic fibrosis at the end stage. You're thinking about, how do I value the life that I got right now?
Right.
With the current physical ability that I have.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's so limited. You can't participate, man. You can't even. And there's things like, for instance, that the drugs, the medicine made me half deaf, for instance. My left ear don't work. So
Damn.
there's certain things that you pay this price for where you can't literally participate as well in life. And you see other people doing it. And there is, man, it's hard to admit this. There's a sense of envy. There's a sense of jealousy there.
So you get jealous at people who are able to live comfortably.
Dude, people that would talk about how, man, traffic's so shady or whatever it is.
I'm too tired. I remember thinking sometimes I'm too tired to finish like a big piece of cake or something. And you must be like, this guy, that's crazy.
Dude, yeah, this guy over here that you would be talking to, he can't eat. Man, dude, it was, and this is real, Theo. This is real, dude.
2 cubes of sugar, dude.
Dude, well, it's
my neck's in a puff.
This is super real. You would eat so much that my stomach would push on my diaphragm, and it would become harder to breathe because of eating. And then on top of that, they're also saying like, hey, to get the transplant, you got to hit a certain BMI. So it's like, think of it like this, man. Cystic fibrosis in general, I mean, but really so at end stage, you're walking up a mountain, and as you're walking up, just put a half pound on every mile, let's just say.
Right.
And it gets harder. You're in there, you're thinking you're halfway through. It's going to get harder and harder and harder, man. There's no, those weights don't come off. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So you're saying, so as the cystic fibrosis goes on, as the time goes on that you have it, it gets everything gets tougher.
Dude, so it's degenerative and debilitating.
It's degenerative. Mm-hmm. So for people that don't know, it's a disease that's in your lungs, right?
That's right.
You got your bags were what, full of water? What happens to them?
No, man. So I'll let you know. So it's in the pancreas as well as your lungs. I mean, it's even in like the vas deferens, man.
The nuts, what is that? Dude, your nut wiring.
Yeah. No, you're right, man.
Oh yeah.
Did you take anatomy? How did you know that?
No, but I used to look up pornographic stuff when I didn't have any. I'd look up the just charts of penis and vagina in the history in the factual books. Yeah, and I remember seeing that vas deferens, dude.
We learned in different ways, but I know about that, though.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. I think I read it in a book, too, but
for different purposes, yeah.
Yeah.
But here, so you have that, disease, and I remember when I saw you last, you were on the transplant list, and you were going through it. Now, this is the first time I met you right here, and if you're watching on YouTube, you can see that's over there in Tacoma. And I remember you telling me this, like you had a couple of buddies that came with you.
Same jacket that I'm wearing right now, huh?
It's cool though. Yeah,
wow.
Dude, I wear this almost every single day.
Dude.
I don't like wearing a lot of different stuff. It's just too hard to find it, like around your own house or whatever. But then, so you had it there, and I thought you looked like Ralph Macchio a little bit, or Ralph Unmacchio, because you couldn't move that good. And you said this about a couple of friends you had there, I remember. You said, man, it's kind of crazy because, it's like you feel like when people hang out with you that it was hard for them not to treat you different.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, especially when you're at an end-stage disease, man. You're living on the cusp of literally dying.
Oh, Frank Sayonara. They call you Frank Sayonara.
Dude.
Sayonara.
Dude, I mean, if you get a cold, right? Like it's literally, you might be on your death, you might be dead.
Yeah.
Right. And you have to.
Oh, you looked like you weren't gonna live, dude. When I saw you, I would have bet you weren't gonna live, dude. Honestly, and I would never say that. I say that now that you're alive. Can we go into some moments? Let's go into some moments just to drop this on everybody. How you and I know each other, Mickey, right here.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is from his first voicemail.
Hey, yo, Theo, man. This is Mickey calling from Seattle. So here's my situation, man. I'm 30 years old, and I'm currently at the end stage of a lung disease. Now, my current lungs don't have very long left, probably about 2.5 years. Hopefully, we can stretch them out. But the silver lining is that I'm going to be soon on the lung transplant list. I'm hoping. I'm going to get listed, which will give me a few more years to figure this whole thing out.
That's fucking tricky Mickey, dude. You know? He's got them tricky airbags inside of him. You know, he's got 2.5 years left on his lungs. He's got them leased lungs. You know, and I had a bad lease on a car a couple years back. And it's not the same thing, but, you know, I only got so many miles. I got 4,000 miles a year on a lease. And Jesus, it was miserable. Okay?
Yeah. And I wonder how.
So that's when you first called in. And then let's go to a next clip here.
How many miles do you think I had in my lungs, though, dude?
I don't know. I don't know, man.
Dude, I was running 300 plus.
Were you?
K plus. Oh, it had to be, man. We were at the fumes at that point.
You were at nothing. Man. Yeah, I remember you just kind of giving up during sentences. You had a little guy there. You would almost kind of hit him, and he'd finish the sentence for you. What else do we have? Here's another.
So that first call was from February 1st, 2018, and then you guys met in Tacoma, and this was about a month after that. You
sound like you got them trumpets rolling, man. Are you feeling okay today?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Dude, I'm living life, man. On a scale of 1 to 10, man, I'm living at about an 8.5 right now, Theo. Life is good.
That's beautiful, man. But now I've seen some stuff on your Instagram and stuff that you've been in the hospital. And I know, like, we kind of texted a little bit about it. The last I saw you were in Tacoma. You were doing good. I know you were on the transplant list. What happened?
Man, it's so crazy, Theo, man. I'll try to keep it simple and short, but you know, man, at where I'm at with my lung, with cystic fibrosis, the disease I have, at end stage, things can go down very quickly. And that is exactly what happened, man. I ended up, not to get too graphic, I ended up coughing up a lot of blood, man. And what happened was the scare was that I wasn't going to be able to do it myself. It clot up. So basically, I had to get into the ICU, man, and I went through a very life-changing event, man. And if I'm really frank, and I don't mean to pull on any heartstrings here, but yeah, man, me and my family, we really didn't know if I was going to make it or not, man. And I've since been out of the hospital for about a week and a half now, and it's just changed my perspectives, man. I'm thankful for it all, and you know what? I'm on the upswing, man, and I am on the transplant list. And any day now, those lungs will be coming in, man.
No way, really?
And after this event, Theo, dude, I mean, I've never felt so loved. It's so crazy that such a traumatic and tragic experience, on the other side of the coin, man, it brings people together. That's what I've learned to another level. And for me,
yeah,
even being out of it here for the past 10 days or so, like I said, I guess maybe I'm riding off that high. I don't know, but I have never felt more loved, and I'm physically weaker than I used to be, but I've never been in a better, more clear space mentally and emotionally, man.
Okay, so right there, so at that point you hear yourself now looking back, and you felt like it really brought people together to another level. Do you still feel that, like, about your family and stuff like that?
Dude, that's hard to even see sometimes when I just watch
a little
bit.
Why?
Yeah, not like hard bad, but it's, dude, because I think tomorrow, Theo, actually now that I'm even realizing it, because I've known it past couple months, tomorrow's the anniversary.
1 year.
The 1 year, right?
Wow.
And I think I would actually give Theo, man, I want to answer that question. I'll come back to that because it's impacted greatly, I think, my relationships and family and whatnot. But I mean, I used to share that video with people that were in the cardiothoracic ICU, like a person who had, I remember a young man, and he was waiting for a heart transplant, and they didn't know if he was going to get it or not. And I remember he would walk by. So at the rehab facility, we're basically doing laps, man, because we got to work our cardio.
Right.
If you don't use it, you lose it, type thing. Damn. Especially right when it's brand new, you gotta use it. You gotta get this acclimated with this, right? Anyway, so I remember this man, and he might not get a transplant. He might not get his heart, and he would die. And I remember sending him that video and telling him, hey, man, this happened. That video, man, that happened. My call with you was like 1 to 2 weeks before my transplant. I think it was 1 week before.
The day before the transplant, you guys had a text exchange, and you read that on the podcast.
Okay. I got a text from him today. And this isn't definite, but I shouldn't share. But you know what? I'm gonna share it. Keep some hope out there. He is scheduled to get some lungs tomorrow. So how crazy is that, boy? He might get them new ballast, bruh. He might be running around on them new freaking inner titties. You feel me? Them air titties, them lungs. And so he said he'll know definitely in the morning. I'll read you the text that came in. He said, bro, I just read what, he goes, surgery scheduled for, donor just came in, man. Crossing my fingers, new hitters. That's what he said. I said, no way. He goes, surgery scheduled for tomorrow, barring that they're safe for me and that no one else may need them more than me. And that shows you what those transplant lists are like. I mean, here he is, goes to bed and, and he don't know if when he wakes up in the morning, if somebody else will have come along and something will have happened to them. And now those hitters won't be there for him. And guess who it is? It's a man who OD'd, who overdosed. Oh, we're living in a wild whirlpool, aren't we? We're living in a wild whirlpool.
Yeah.
I remember that now, man.
Dude, there's
I'm
so
glad
much
I needed
there.
to be some of this. Yeah, man, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah. There's so much to unpack.
Yeah, man, so much to unpack.
This whole year's been about that, and some very real stuff, man.
Well, take me to the so you're going in with your family, and before that you had some really real moments with your family, and it brought you guys closer together. You said,
oh, absolutely, man. So the call before, right, where I was speaking with you, and I was intubated. I had that a tube shoved down my throat to be able to breathe. I came out of that. I remember my dad looking at me and telling me, he goes, you changed. You changed, and not in a negative way, but he was really inspired, I could tell. And what happened was, I was filled with love. You can't, I believe that I'm in a really unique scenario where I've been on my, Theo, dude, I was on my deathbed.
Okay.
And in 3 weeks, you got to live life again. And it's wild, man. It's surreal. It's crazy. It's scary. It's full of anxiety.
Do you almost feel like you let some people down a little bit by not dying? Like, not in a messed up way. I know that sounds crazy, man, but is that crazy? No, I don't think it's crazy, but what I'm trying to say is, do you feel like that you could never, the big finish is to die?
Jesus, man. I want to get back to that because I want to know how you died. So many people want to know that about you.
Well,
we're
don't
going to get to that later. But
what I'm saying is there a thing there that, like, man, it's like.
Yeah, almost there is. I know for some patients that they have a guilt.
Yeah.
Guilt.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You can't ever see it all the way through, It's like,
yeah.
There
was one person. It was one person and one only, and that was it's funny you joke around about like this dude, I went in there, I get the call. I say, okay, what do you guys want me to do? They go, hey, 1900, 7 p.m., 1900, you come into the hospital.
Oh, they're all of a sudden military. They try to trick you. They want you to be there late. That's insurance, man. Dude. You get there 2 hours late, you don't get the fucking deal. They don't have to pay for it.
What is a 1900?
Yeah.
This is time, not years. So anyway, getting back at it. So I'm like, okay, well, what do you guys want me to do? And they said, just live your life till normal. It was 10 a.m., man. It was 10 a.m. And I remember, I guess I'll go get some tacos and go get my hair cut.
And chill out until 7 p.m.
Yeah.
So now do you get the haircut because you are, for what? You're thinking in case you don't make it?
Damn it. No, I was thinking totally I was going to make it.
Sorry, man. Well, I guess
that would have been smarter, though, man.
Well, instead of letting some freak who doesn't care about you cut your hair down at the, at the freaking
would you
bone
die with
barn.
that haircut? Would you
With
let
this
yourself
haircut?
die with that haircut?
Yeah, I probably would. I mean, I'd have somebody tighten it up a little bit and maybe put a little bit of thickener in the back.
It's funny you say that. Let me get to that real fast. I went there specifically thinking I'm gonna be in the hospital for maybe 2 to 3 months.
So let me get a good haircut first.
And I want to get something short because I had like shaggy hair and I wanted to be able to breathe because you can't shower with all that gear, right? And I was prepared. I was prepping, and I remember the exchange that I had with my barber at the time, the guy who's cutting my hair. I said, "Hey man, I want it short. I need one on the edges, and I want to take it all off to about like a 1/4 inch." And he goes, "Hey man, are you sure about that?" I said, "Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it." He goes, "What's the occasion? What are you doing?" I said, "I might be in the hospital here for about 2 months getting a double lung transplant." And he said, "Oh, okay, word, all right." And I had then realized at that moment, I go, "Oh, some people do and don't get it. it was very blasé. It was very blasé. It was
What
just kinda
was? What
like,
do you mean?
his reaction more or less kind of like, oh, okay,
Oh,
we're
right.
getting a double lung transplant, right?
Oh, I see.
And it's not, don't get me wrong, I don't want to get that there's any expectation on that end, but it's more to say, a lot of people don't know, man. A lot of people don't know. Like, someone had to die for me to live.
Yeah.
Bro. Again, like, there's so much to unpack, but it's like, a lot of people don't realize the intensity of the scenario at all, right? You know, again, whether it's rebirth and living anew, or whether it's one person had to die over an overdose, you can't die in any single way, man. If someone stabbed you in the lungs, we ain't getting those lungs, dude. No one wants those lungs, man. Sorry, dude. We don't want punctured lungs. You have to die very, very circumstantially.
Yeah, a lot of motorcycle accidents.
Yes.
Those guys give them up a lot. A lot of people, decapitation, stuff like that.
Yes.
Yeah, man, it's really... You know, this guy overdosed, they said, who got yours, huh?
That's right. That's right.
Now, this is all over the place, but let me go back to this where, so I could imagine, say you know, you're not sure if you're going to be alive, right? And I only talk about this candidly with you because you know, and when we've discussed this kind of stuff, you've been pretty candid about most of it,
man,
you know,
always.
and really insightful in some moments.
Let me ask you, Theo, don't you think, in my position, I think you would be. Like, you have to be, right?
What?
I gotta be candid, man. There's no use for feeling like,
Well, I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, you know, like that's what I'm, you know, like whenever you're talking with your family before, it's like I feel like I would worry that I'd make all these promises to my family. Man, if I only had an extra week, you know, we would do this and this and this, and I promise I would always be like this. And then you get the transplant, you get the extra weeks. And you're just like, fuck it, we got time to kill now, you know, like not in a bad way, but just like, you know, that's human nature.
oh man, but it ain't human nature for me, right?
Right.
At least in my perspective, because, you know, again, man, it's a perspective thing. I've always been, for lack of better words, held down by health. Man, I would have plans, dude. I've got big plans these days with life.
Right.
And the number one thing that always stopped me was health. Right? At 13, 14 years old, I was facing a daily dose of mortality every single day. And now I don't, man.
And do other people get tired of hearing about that whenever you're young? Like, take me, what's some of that like? Like, what is that like, you know, what is some of that like?
Yeah, because like you used to say when your sister was sick, she got all the attention and you were kind of resentful.
Yeah.
Like, so like you being the center of attention, did you ever feel that from anybody?
No, man.
Yeah, people are.
No. It's weird, dude. I mean, Nick, that's a great question. I think that if I'm real with you, man, this is a bit vulnerable, but I actually, it's hard for me to say, especially on something like this, but I actually don't feel like I receive a ton of love.
Right.
I don't feel a lot of it. I don't feel a lot of it. And I don't think that's necessarily because of the fact that I've taken wrong turns in life necessarily, but it's more of, again, man, I spoke about the whole participating in life aspect of things. There's a depth that I have, and I don't know whether it's CF related or not. Maybe it's just my mind. I don't know. But a lot of people can't level with. And so when I go out in the world and I see however the world I see, right? Like, I wonder why people aren't taking their own fate into their own hands, man. Like like I said, uniquely enough, I have this at 31 years old. I have this unique experience to live life again and realize, okay, this is what I'm not gonna do. You know what I'm not gonna do? I ain't gonna work 40 hours a week, dude. It's in the sense of like working for someone. I'm trying to get out of that. I'll pay my time, cool, whatever.
Right.
But you gotta realize fast, man, like what is important to you and all these types of things, man. What is important? What do you want to do in life? I never had a bucket list, but I have things that I want to achieve.
Right.
And now I feel like I have that ability to do so. Regarding the attention, I don't feel like I receive it in a way that I can process and feel it, man. It's just, it gets hard. I don't think that they come from a perspective that maybe is relative to mine. And it gets hard. It's hard.
Why? Because like people just can't understand what it's like to feel like your life might be ending, or like why? Like, what do you mean?
You know, I mean, it's a hard question to answer. When I really think about it, man, I think it's just because of the fact that I get a lot of people trying to solve my problems or talk about theirs. And again, being in the perspectives, I'm like, dude, I can't talk to you about your AT&T bill.
Right.
You know, I can't talk to you. I can. I'll sit there. Oh, okay. You know, I'll have the small talk.
Right.
Right. But
what? There's bigger fish to fry.
it's just that.
But people don't realize that.
You know what? If I can I cuss on this shit, man?
Yeah,
like,
I don't
dude,
care.
who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying about your AT&T bill or whatever's going on, dude. Like, why do you care so much?
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna tell you this, man. When you live on the cusp of that, when you face your mortality every single day,
Oh, yeah.
you'll start to realize real fast this shit doesn't matter, dude. Your traffic jam at work, man. This is so cliche and so stupid. I apologize for saying it. You're lucky you could be in that traffic jam, dude. There are people in the hospital right now, dude, who are having a hard time. There are people in
Bumper to bumper with between the Lord and the devil who don't know what's going on.
right, man.
Yeah.
That's a Jesus. That's but yes, man. And it's crazy to think of life like that. I know we can't all think like that, but to step out of ourselves, I think that I just have a lot of friends who aren't able to.
Yeah.
You know, I have a lot of loved ones.
Well, a lot of people probably just can't. It must just be that we're not wired then to do it that way. You know, we're just wired to, you know, see it how we see it in the perception that we're in, you know. And once we get into another position, then we can see it. It's like, I can only see the earth the way it is, but if I'm an astronaut or something, if I'm out there buzzing, you know, or Aldrin or whatever, then you can see, then you get a glimpse of the earth that gives you a whole different perception of what's going on. So you get that by being able to, you know, kind of go to those depths of not knowing what your clock is. But a lot of the rest of us, we just don't get that.
Cystic fibrosis, it gave me that, man.
Yeah.
It
But
gives
how do
me
you
that.
get, but does that start to affect you more because people can't relate to you now because you're coming from a place where you're like, you know, you're at the post office yelling, "We don't need to be doing this," and other people are just trying to get their mail out.
Yeah,
you know,
DMV is crazy.
like this doesn't matter.
Yeah,
you know,
man.
like I mean, is it tough to like re-enter society kind of a little bit?
It's interesting you say that, man. I will never talk about it like I know what this is like when I'm about to say, but I can see how it would be relative to someone coming out of the penitentiary for a while.
Oh wow,
I mean, again, or maybe coming back from war.
yeah,
You know, maybe not having PTSD in a different way. Man, I've had, to let you know a little bit about my story, Theo, man. You know, I've had I grew up with 9 other cystic fibrosis patients. You know, I was in and out of Seattle.
all
Children's
siblings?
Hospital.
No.
No,
Jesus.
yeah, back in, I mean, you'd call it a little brotherhood type
Okay,
of thing,
I
right?
see, but a club, a group.
Right. We were all sick in that generation in Seattle.
Wow.
And I spent probably about 3 years in and out of the hospital at Seattle Children's.
And would they date too? A lot of the CF kids?
Close, man. I mean, my best friend he was my best friend, but I did have another 2 that I knew that they wouldn't want to date due to, I mean, we can't commingle too well. If my bacteria learns yours, then our antibiotics kind of cancel each other out.
Damn. So you can't even have sex with someone because
Oh, hell no, man.
if they have your cystic fibroses could meet up and teach each other about the other one's defenses.
Yeah, yes, as well as create new defense. It's bad. It's crazy, man. But on that note, though, Theo, man, check it.
It's like Game of Thrones. I'm in Game of Thrones season 1 right now.
Oh, Jesus, man.
So
Yeah. Well, you got to catch up.
it's
Dude,
very similar.
dude, are you ready for that? We'll talk about that in a second. Are you really ready for that commitment? It's 8 seasons, dude.
Wait,
That's a
Game of
long-
Thrones? I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think I am, actually.
Okay.
That'd be the most commitment Theo's ever had.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I'm already scared of season 4. I'm already wondering how I'm going to get out of season 4.
Look, can I speak on that real fast though? On the
Yeah,
kids,
definitely.
man.
So you can't even so there's a danger of even mingling. So can
Right.
Can you touch each other and stuff?
We're not supposed to, but we do, right?
Right.
But the thing is this, man. You're meeting someone for kind of maybe the first time in your life. Where it's, oh my, holy shit, this person knows what I deal with every day.
Oh, it's
of my life.
interesting.
And you're like 9 years old.
Yeah.
The subconscious takes a crazy toll, right? Where
Yeah.
you're like, oh man, I got to do all these treatments. I got to cough up all this stuff. You know,
Bile? Is that what you cough up? Bile?
mucus?
Oh, wow.
Mucus in the lungs, right?
Damn, sounds like if you don't have cystic fibrosis, I would love that. I love coughing up something and spitting it.
Oh yeah, man.
Swartzen was talking a lot about bile. Maybe he has cystic fibrosis and we don't know.
I could see Nick Swartzen having it. Something seems.
He looks like something's wrong with him. I don't know what
Yeah,
cystic fibrosis,
looks like
but
he
he
might have
also
something.
something's wrong with him. But it also makes him very special and sweet.
Yeah.
tell that.
Yeah, he looks like he has diarrhea like right under
Because
his
he's
skin.
shitting his pants all the time.
Yeah, that's true.
as I was growing up with these 8 or 9, and I'm glad that we could keep it light, because the bomb drop is this: by 20 years old, by my 20th birthday, all of them were gone.
No way. Passed away.
All of them have died.
Wow.
And you know, I don't
from
like
the disease or from other stuff randomly.
From the disease.
Wow.
From the disease, and I don't like to say it because it feels weird, but I'm kind of the one guy who got out, right?
Yeah.
The one kid who survived. And then when my time to go came, right?
Yeah.
That for whatever miracle on miracle, it eliminated that, and now here I am, man.
Right.
And
because
so,
it's such a now. Were those kids on the list too? A lot of them.
Transplant these days for lungs have advanced greatly within the past 10 years.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm 31 now. Back when I was 20, they were already all gone, and so. No, man. I mean, none of them were maybe even eligible for transplant, dude. It's just, it's so harsh to say, man.
That's crazy, man. So did you start to feel like, was there a superiority complex that happened too? Because, you know, the ego is very dangerous. And I even notice sometimes it's like, you know, things will start to make you, it's hard for you not to think, oh, I'm special as well. You know, in addition to the other feelings you can have, I'm lucky, I'm blessed, I'm fortunate, and I'm staying in the action of helping others. But there's also times where you feel like, oh, well,
yeah,
I'm the man,
absolutely.
you know? I'm the fucking Ralph Macchio
It's
of lungs.
interesting you say that. I don't look at it as superiority as far as that goes, but I do say, why me?
Oh, why me?
Yeah, and not in a guilty way, but like quite literally, you know, why am I, why me? Like, why am I still here out of these 8 or 9? Like, what did I do to deserve living continuously? What did I do to deserve, going back to our previous thread of conversation, there was one other person in the transplant, man, like before I got the transplant, there was one other person in the hospital that was contending with me. They sent him home, dude.
Wow.
And I'm hoping that he got lungs, you know, cross our fingers or whatever. But
Damn.
you know, there's a why me aspect, and
It's like The Contender, that show The Contender. Remember that with Sylvester Stallone? And
I loved it.
you think of that? It's so good.
Sergio Mora, he was he
Peter
won.
Manfredo.
The Snake? I didn't like him. I liked Manfredo from where? New Jersey?
Rhode Island, baby.
Rhode Island. What was his name?
Peter
Peter
Manfredo.
Manfredo Jr.,
Yep.
right?
And then Gary Boletto Jr. There's 2 guys from Rhode Island.
Peter Manfredo, I watched. Couldn't he? Yeah, Peter Manfredo was always like, yeah, but he kept losing. He lost a lot.
I cried like every episode of
Oh, I
that show.
cried.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
The fight scenes were like, they did them all cinematic like. But just this weekend, coincidentally, Daniel Cormier and Sergio Mora got into it on Twitter because of how Sergio Mora was commentating the Canelo fight. They thought they were fanboying out, and they were going back and forth. Like,
Wow.
yeah, it got rough. You should check that out later.
So Sergio Moore is a commentator now?
Yeah. Him and Brian Kenny did the Canelo fight, and they were just like, even when Daniel Jacobs would land a shot, they'd be like, look at the chin on Canelo. Like, everything was about him.
Dang.
He's the $300 million man.
Did they like ever put you guys together, or like did you ever meet him, and or they try and keep
So
you
you
guys?
met him, huh?
oh,
The
this
Contender.
dude?
Yeah.
Oh no, dude, because if we did, we'd try to kill each other.
Would you really, you
For
think?
sure, absolutely, dude. It's live or let live, dude. I ain't gonna let him live.
So both of you guys are up for the
Right.
organs.
yeah,
That's why.
yeah. And it's like, and we
Was it on
ain't never
pay-per-view?
gonna meet, dude. I never want to meet that guy because he's gonna be. Because what if he's, you know, God
what-
forbid, what if he's not here?
What if he's
right?
not here?
But
God.
I mean, he likely is. Who knows? But that, yeah, we knock on wood and we cross our fingers and all that, you know.
Yeah.
But that being
Dang.
said, man,
That's crazy, man.
Again, but you sleep in the hospital. You get the call. Okay, I come in at 7 p.m. I got my fresh haircut. You know, I'm trying to get at the nurses, dude.
Right.
And so anyway, and that's real
Now, are you real horny before you're going to die like that?
always.
Yeah, I could see that.
Whether it's before death or after, dude.
Well, nobody's
always.
fuck. I
We're
mean, somebody will
lucky
fuck you
we're all
after
men
in a
here,
hospital.
dude.
They might. They always keep busting people for, you know, making babies with the dead or whatever over there. Knock. You know, they always bust every now and then. They
Oh.
bust a black janitor for, you know, procreating with a bunch of old senior women. But
Dude, my first girlfriend.
or not
Seattle
black janitor. I
Children's.
shouldn't have said a black janitor. Different, all types of janitors, black and white and beige. So that's a universal thing. People want to.
Right.
But so anyway, you're in there.
Let me get at this. Can I say this real fast? You were
Yeah.
bringing that up, dude. My first girlfriend was a nurse, and I was at the hospital. I was at Seattle Children's Hospital. She was a CNA
Yeah.
and taking care of me, and then we you know, started dating. But she got fired promptly after that.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
And did you guys ever like hook up in the hospital or no?
It happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
And is there a lot of sex between in like these transplant wards?
Probably more than we would like to admit. I kind of mean that.
It's like the Olympic Center. It's like Olympic Village or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I think anyway, if you're there and you got, and you got the death cathalon the next day, baby, I'd be fucking dude. I'd fuck the little guy bringing the jello cups,
Man. Dude, we're all looking for some love, and so and I say that as a joke, but that's very mean. Like, I mean,
is it hard to have sex when you can't breathe that good?
Oh, dude, but I always found a way, dude. You always find a. You can ask past lovers, you can ask current lovers. I'll always find a way, dude. Yes, absolutely, for sure.
Like Mickey's going longer than Theo.
Yeah. I can't stand having
dude,
sex.
it was hard. You know what I would do, Theo? This is a real power play that I would do. Right before it was all finished up.
Yeah.
I'd pull out and I'd place her hand on my heart.
Oh, wow.
To show how much dedication I put into it, because it was so rapid. But then they knew. They're like, oh shit, he really loves me.
This guy did it all. This guy's at 7,000 fucking beats a minute. Wow, bro.
It's intense, but it's fun
Feels
though.
intense,
dude. It's fun though, like it is, because you don't know what's gonna happen, dude.
Yeah. Do you ever?
It's exciting.
Is it? Do you ever think your heart could stop and stuff like that?
Dude, there were times where, because if you remember, I was coughing up all that blood.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, there were times where I'd be in the middle of making love with a girl and start coughing blood up.
Yeah.
And thinking, I'm like, okay, I could die from this, and but I need to finish this.
I need to have sex first. Finish it up. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Because life, we got duality here, life and death, and I will always choose life.
Yeah.
Always.
And you also, that could be, what's that group of kids in high school that go to watch that midnight Rocky Horror Picture Show, dude? You could have, with that's you tell that story right there, you could have hooked up with any chick that is a big Rocky Horror Picture Show fan, I feel like.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's my type. But you're right. But I don't know if that's my type.
So you got now once you get the transplant, you got a pair of bags from let's go here. Let's check out another video right here.
This is the first time we talked to Mickey after the transplant.
Let's hear it.
Yo, Theo, how's it going, man?
What up, bro?
Dude, new hitters, bro.
You got them new fresh air duffels, huh, baby boy?
Man, god dang, man, life is so good, brother. It's so good to hear your voice, man.
Dude, you too, man. You sound like honestly, do you sound like an adult now?
Dude, you know what's crazy? Here's the real fast, dude. My diaphragm hasn't hooked up to my lungs, so I got a laugh right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally, it's a silent laugh. But I am an adult. I'm an adult now, man. I weigh 118 pounds, but I'm still an adult.
Dang, you coming? He's that light adult. But look out. Where were you at before, like out of 10, and where you at now out of 10?
It's really funny, man. You know, when we talked, like 3 weeks ago, I want to say 4 weeks, maybe. You know, I was like, I think I told you like maybe an 8.5 in life, right?
Yeah.
8 out of 10. 8.5.
Yeah.
Dude, this is like, you know, not to be all hokey or whatever, man. Yeah, it's like it's 10 out of 10, if not 15 out of 10, man. Dude, every day is, man.
You're out there, huh?
Every day is beautiful, dude.
So, dude, let me hear. So you got those new lungs. Now, the person that donated them to you, that person they overdosed. Is that right?
That's true, man. Yeah, I said that over text, dude, in the sense that this was what was considered a high-risk transplant, meaning that the donor had been using intravenous drugs and also spent a little bit of time in jail.
Ooh, boy, you got a real G inside of you now.
Dude, my street credibility went up about 100%, at least double what I normally had, you know?
Dude, you got them dirty moist duffels living in your sternum now, dude. This is gangster.
Right, man.
They overdosed, right? Tell us about that, man.
Yeah, man. They don't tell me.
You got a picture of them or not?
No, dude. I'll tell you how it is.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this, man. There's this thing called HIPAA, which is basically a privacy act, right? And so they tell me what I need to know about the organs. Mm-hmm. So, which is specifically this, that...
Let me know. Let me guess. Hold on. Let us guess what it sounds like. What year? How many years old are the bags here? Whistle a little.
Dude, I always...
Okay.
27.
Hold on. What about maybe sing a couple bars? Do a little bit of national anthem.
Dude, what if I don't know that song?
We'll just do a couple bars of it.
Jose, can you see?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Let me think. I would go probably.
For real, we're doing this.
I'm gonna go 23-year-old. I'm gonna go with a 31-year-old. Gianni.
My original guess was 27, but the national anthem was a little deeper, so I'm gonna go 30.
I told you, got to get clues, man.
Yeah, when I heard the national anthem, I was thinking like Pavarotti. I'm thinking like 64, to be honest.
Oh wow! So Nick's going with those old bags. That means you gotta get them replaced in 20 years.
Price is right for new organs.
Yeah, if it is, I fucked up.
Yeah,
I might.
This is it. $1, Bob. I want that blender. What are we talking here, Nick?
Yeah, man. It's I think that he was 31 to 32 years old.
Wow.
Right.
Gianni, right on the frickin' long money.
And here's what they tell me, man. They tell me everything that I'm supposed to or need to know, right? And which is this, that this was a high risk transplant, meaning that the patient, or I should say the donor, had died and had been using intravenous drugs in the past, I believe, X amount of hours, whatever that is. As well as, and the big thing to take away is the recipient is that there's two different things that I got to watch out for. The two things were this: hey, he's done IV drugs lately, and also he's also had a history of a criminal record.
Okay.
And so they say that means there's high risk for you could have HIV.
Wow.
Or you get Hep C or Hep B. And yeah, man. So then they tell you that beforehand, and then they say, "You still want them?"
Wow.
Yeah.
And you can say yes or no.
Yeah. But dude,
Now, if you say no, you're gambling that you're gonna get another pair.
you already got it. You got it.
Another pair of
Yeah. So
fucking
what do you do?
chest
What
socks.
do you do?
Yeah.
Do you take them? I mean, you got to. What do you think? What do you do?
I don't know. I like to say, don't hit me.
It's like Price is Right again. Bitter pass. Bitter pass.
Yeah.
That's probably the toughest game of 21 you've ever played, huh?
I know, dude.
It's ridiculous, man. But my thought,
Did you think about it at all?
Dude, I called my best friend about it.
Oh, it's phone a friend. This is definitely like
Yeah. Oh, for sure, man. It's getting more complex. I phoned a friend.
What did he say? I love this.
Yeah. She's all like, here's the thing.
Is your friend Amy that we know?
No, Amy. No, it wasn't Amy. I didn't know Amy until after the show. I've made so many connections after the show, man. But
Right.
But it's my friend Deanna. She's my best friend, and she actually is the one who made the GoFundMe page a while back. And so anyway, she's a lawyer. She's smart, right?
Okay.
And she goes, listen, I'd say take him because you don't know if you're going to survive.
Yeah.
So, and I go, yeah, I suppose that's true. And even if I get Hep C, Hep B, even if I get HIV, it's like, whatever, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, and I kind of mean that, dude. Like,
So that's interesting. It's crazy. So at that level, this is a really good piece, because then at that level, that's something I can almost kind of grasp my head onto. Like, man, okay, right now, if somebody said, hey, man, do you want HIV? I'd be like, nah, I'm good, But if it was like, hey, do you want to live, but also maybe have HIV, it would be like, yeah, undeniably.
Right.
Yeah.
Gun to your head.
Yeah,
And
give me it.
We'll shoot you in 3 weeks. You can live your life, but we're coming to get you. Or you could have HIV and just we'll never come again.
Yeah. We'll shoot you full of HIV and you'll live. So, do you feel any different? Do you feel like when they put new lungs into you that you develop any of the traits from the other person? If the person was a drug user, do you start to covet dope? Do you start to, do you have any dreams you feel like aren't yours? Like, does any of that kind of stuff go on after you are a transplant recipient?
So like I told you, man, I got the call actually on May 6th of last year.
And who called, a man or a woman?
It's a man, a nurse at the hospital.
Okay,
saying, hey,
and
we got
how do they
enough lungs.
phrase that to you?
Literally saying, dude, hey, Michael, we have, 'cause that's also my name.
Oh,
we
God.
have a,
Well, yeah.
we have a possible donor for you. And barring that you are the recipient that is most ill and most fitting, then we would be performing the transplant on you. And that's that. Getting back to what you were saying, though, What were you saying? What
I don't
were you
know.
saying? All right, well, shoot, man. Were you gonna puff on some albuterol? You got some. That's Beclevent. I used to use that, man.
Yeah, this is flutacasone
Yeah,
propionate, man.
Flonase,
So
yeah,
I do this every now and then.
Yeah, man. Do
Oh,
you got,
so
you got cystic fibrosis from that? What's going on?
No, I have my lungs. Something happened with my lungs. The doctor said.
Okay.
But
if you developed any of the traits that like
yeah.
someone who got a transplant.
yeah, do you feel like
Thanks,
you do
man.
things differently that aren't yours now? Like suddenly you want to swim, or suddenly you want to,
Yeah,
have an
here's-
oatmeal.
And this is not a joke, man. So where I was going, thank you. Where I was going with that was that the donor had his thing on Cinco de Mayo, right? So I always looked at weekends like these are big things.
Opportunities.
People die during the weekends, dude. We party on Friday and Saturday. You know, we party hard. Sometimes we party all the time. But on Friday and Saturday, that's when most people party, and that's when most people die. And for him, he got wild on Cinco de Mayo, and he did his thing.
Cinco de Muerto, eh? Was he Latino?
That's what I'm wondering. Because I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
This is where I was getting at in the punchline.
Más,
is that
por favor.
what I've taken
Yeah.
from him, I cannot not date a Latina girl.
Really?
And I kind of mean that, dude. That's not really even a joke. I like a lot of Mexican food a lot lately.
You have a craving.
Salsa. Yeah.
Well, they say like if you have a baby and you have a craving for certain food, that the baby could be that ethnicity a lot of times.
Yeah.
And so I can't imagine that this would be very much different than that. Dude, that's amazing. What if your desire for people you are attracted to is in your lungs?
It's such a crazy thing when you think of I don't mean to take it here, but like almost a spiritual sense, dude. Man, I have another person's organs, another person inside of me right now.
Yeah.
And so there's just no way, in my opinion, that you can't take on something, man. This guy's DNA is inside of me.
Do you start to feel things more interchangeable? Like, what does that do for you physically, having somebody else's body parts in you?
You just realize, at least in my part, man, it's just a wild experience. You realize that first and foremost, we're in a time where medical advances has made this possible, right? Without that, I would not be here, for one. I mean, secondly, again, I do really imagine and wonder. I'm wondering who this man was, what life he lived. Because here's the thing, Theo. Many people who go through what I've gone through, they die.
Yeah.
After transplant, they die, man. And
Because the organs get rejected, right?
they do.
And you have to take anti-rejection medicine?
I do.
Yeah.
I haven't told you about this much, but my recovery, I was in the hospital post-transplant, dude, for 10 days, right? Which you're supposed to be in there for at least 2 weeks.
Yeah, that seems like way not that much. Mm-hmm. There you are, Mickey Lives, baby,
man.
right there.
Yeah.
Dang, look at you. You look like Al Pacino a little bit in there, dude.
Yeah, dude.
You look like Al Pacino,
You
dude.
look much older there. You look much younger now. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah,
Hey, thank you. I appreciate that, man. I mean, that has happened. I feel like there's so much emotional stress and physical stress on your body. I look at pictures from beforehand and I look aged, right? And not badly, but
Yeah.
you can see a pain, I feel. You can see a pain.
Like, what do you mean you can see a pain?
Do you ever feel like that when you walking around, you see that somebody's just kind of like, you can just kind of feel their energy almost.
Oh
Like
yeah,
they're just-
definitely. Especially if you've been fasting. I could imagine if you're if you're getting sick, if you're on mushrooms, things like that. I feel like I can definitely immediately tell if someone's what's going on with someone, and sometimes even almost what that specifically is, or you get an insight. Especially if you're fasting, I feel like because you're so hungry for anything that even a piece of information from someone
Wow.
is like
Appetize you?
is like a nutrient. Yeah, it's like it's something you get.
Yeah.
What are some things that physically happen to you differently now that that happen to your body differently, or that or suddenly or different now?
The one thing I smile at is
Move this a little closer to you. Can you hear him?
it's
Okay.
so-
Yeah.
Okay.
it's so ridiculous that I bring this up because it's been such a consistent topic, dude. My sex life is way better.
Really?
Like,
Oh God, I need some fucking
enormously
lungs
better,
then.
dude.
I need a couple lungs in my nuts, dude. I need definitely some more. I need some more. I need my dick to breathe harder. So that's a thing immediately that you notice, and are you serious or not?
No, I'm very serious. it's a blood flow thing, I think. I'm more
Right.
oxygenated, right?
Yeah, that's huge.
So I do have like harder erections, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the first thing that I noticed.
That's awesome.
Other than the fact that yes, that I can breathe. Okay, cool, great, I can breathe. But we breathe to sometimes have sex,
Right.
It's like we breathe to do things. That's
Right.
one of them that we do.
What have you learned as a most, like, what are some things that you now, like, an insights you realize about life or about being alive or time or anything, some insights about existence that you think other people may not have the ability to recognize because they didn't have this experience? And they can be good or bad.
Yeah, that's it, man. I mean, I would have first asked you how much time we got, right? But I'd say
We got time to hear a couple.
The biggest thing I would say, man, is that you got to really look at life and understand it. You got to build an awareness to yourself to what you want in life. Because it really is not going to be the status that you may want to build, whether it's a little empire, whether it's money. I'd say, sure, if you're going to do that, build it in knowing what you want in life. Because I'll tell you this, on someone who's been after his deathbed and now on a rebirth, I would say the things that are biggest to me are my relationships in life, the passions that I want to pursue, as well as the things that fulfill me, right? And I've taken the time to understand these things. And I would say you learn these things it becomes, it taints your experience. You start talking with people, you're like, oh, he doesn't know himself. She doesn't know, she's lost. She's going to keep going through this cycle over and over and over again. And you start realizing, okay, these are the big things that are in life right now. And again, people get caught up in their stress. It's too hard to look at. And so I believe that once you've come back from something like that, that's all I'm going to pursue. Build my little empire to the point where I want to get the resources to do what I want to do.
Right.
Right. But if anything, exactly that. Do what I'm, cliche enough, do what I'm meant to be here for.
Right.
And maybe that I have a way. Somebody told me this recently. They said, maybe you just being you and living your life is a testament of that someone looks at and takes away from it.
Yeah.
And inspires them and makes them want to do something more.
Yeah.
There's some calls, man. I've run into listeners.
Yeah.
Last week I was playing basketball at a gym. I started playing a pickup game with this other dude, and he came up to me. I introduced myself as Mickey, and he goes, "Hey, man, do you know Theo Vaughn?" He knew me right away, man.
Wow, that's
He goes,
crazy.
Man, I could tell by your voice. You're
Really?
Trick Mickey. Yeah.
No way.
Dude, man, I got so many.
And then
different
you got to
stories,
have
man.
a jumper after that, man. You can't show up with some
we won the
budget
game.
ass.
We
Oh,
won
you
the
did?
game. And what was great, and I do want to make note of this, Theo, is that I
That's
texted
cool,
somebody
man.
about that, and I said, somebody recognized me from the podcast, and she said, how did it feel to be known? I kind of shrugged it aside because what I took from it, I said to her, what was so amazing was his big smile on his face.
Yeah.
Because the thing that he said to me was, his name was Jordan, by the way. And what he said to me was, man, you just got your transplant about a year ago. You're playing basketball like that? Because we did. We beat him, not by much,
Right.
whatever. But he's like, wow, you're playing basketball. You're out here. You have this big smile, right?
Cool.
And it is, man. And it's fulfilling. It's gratifying, man. And
Yeah, that's a way where somebody else hears that, and then inside of them, it touches a part of them that cares, and they get to see you in real life suddenly playing hoops, and they're like, oh, wow, man, that's so cool. Like, I remember hearing about this guy, and then here I am. Here we are. We get to play together and be around each other. That's cool. And not only that, doing something where you have to be able to breathe to do it,
Oh,
I mean, if
hard.
you guys were underwater, some might be like, oh, who gives a fuck, But you're out there in a place where you got to really be able to, use air.
No, it was wild, man.
That's cool, man.
I mean, even in the rehab, my physical therapist, unknowingly, again, I go, Mickey's my nickname. People know me as Michael. When I was getting rehab at the hospital, this physical therapist comes in my room and it says, prefers to be called by Mickey on my board, right? And he looks over, he points at me, he goes, you listen to Theo Vaughn any chance? I go, yeah, man, why? What's up? He goes, you're Trick Lung Mickey, huh?
That's funny.
It's my physical therapist, man, is a TPW listener. His name is Jason.
What up,
I wouldn't
Jason?
trust that guy. You practice medicine and listen to Theo.
The dark arts, dude. Who knows what he put inside of you?
Man, dude. And so there are these occasions, right? And I've connected, man. I've connected with a bunch of people that, and I wanted to really state out, man, that the listeners have helped immensely.
Wow.
And I mean,
No, I agree. This is
so
amazing.
many people coming out, dude. So many people just giving me their support. I had one dude give me a message, and he was like, my son listens to the podcast. We've been listening. I drive him to school, and he listens, and I listen. And he came in the door, and he goes, Dad, Mickey got them new hitters.
Yeah.
And I just was so touched by it, because there's this father and son somewhere out there, I don't know, like Kentucky, Alabama, somewhere that are touched by this story, whatever, that Theo, that man, that you've given me a platform on, man. And
Oh, it's cool, man. I appreciate you saying that. Well, it's just funny, man, because I don't know if I would ever care about transplantation unless my sister would have went through it, or I'd have been around it, or, I'd have had some experience with it. And then I remember you guys' skin tone was very much the same color. It was this kind of yellowish kind of color a little bit, and so, and immediately whenever I saw you, I was like, oh man, that's so crazy. It's like, it just reminds me so much of my sister when she was a kid,
Right.
And yeah, I don't know. It's just, it's interesting sometimes how the power of illness, like how it makes other people, it puts this impression on us of living, of the value of it. So I can only imagine that being the illness, having the illness, and going right there to the edge of not existing anymore, and then coming back from there. It seemed like you would have a sixth sense as to who's spending their time, well, who's doing things in a correct manner, who's trying to, who's confused, who's not. I think it's probably why a lot of different cultures and stuff over the years have done things to, whether it be fasting or whether it be sweat lodges, things where they just try to go to the edge of their own mortality to see what's there, to see what they can actually learn, because those are things that you used to have a lot more in everyday society before we got so comfortable, especially in the U.S. I mean, we really have a lot of comfort.
Yeah. There's a wisdom there.
Yeah.
There's a wisdom that you can't learn just by living life. You get brought to that edge, man.
That's the crazy thing to me, man. It's sometimes I'll be having a time, even just this weekend, I was just so tired this weekend doing shows. I almost didn't want to get on stage. I couldn't even feel myself talk. I was talking, but my words weren't connected with my thoughts. I felt like I was just putting on this monkey thing on stage. And then they had this father-son that had come down, and it just they were like, man, we're so excited. I've randomly found an email they sent me and just sent them some tickets at the last minute the other day. It was from 3 weeks ago, and I just hadn't looked through my emails. And I was like, hey man, why don't you guys come through? And they were just stoked, and it gave me a whole different, it just showed me the other side of the coin. It was there's, we just don't realize sometimes the places we are or what we're doing, the effect they can have on somebody else who's not even around, whether if I'm even just, in the morning I see a mom just give her son a hug goodbye, or the mom or the kid run back and I love you, just the little things we don't see. You see somebody pick up something that they dropped that they didn't even see and put it back on their cart. They didn't even know. It's just, we don't know where the role we can play in other people's wellness, or other people's comfort in the world. But I constantly get reminded by, and anyway, I met the father and son after the show, and they were so stoked, and it just was oh, well, this is why you're here today. You're just here to help these guys, get to spend some time together, and then I live vicariously. It's I get to be with my dad through that moment, through them. It's
wow.
It's kind of, I don't know. We're all in this web. We're all so connected. It's crazy. I feel like.
Yeah, I think it's cool that Mickey got to share his story with all our listeners, because lots of times when it just happens to you, that's what you need to take stock of things and reevaluate. But these people didn't have to have it firsthand. They got to hear Mickey's story and see his new lease on life, and I think it kind of just a reminder to people to live that way.
Yeah.
Without having to go through the suffering.
Yeah. 100% reminding people to do organ donation, just the value of that. It's thinking that their lungs could have a chance to be here on TPW. I'm just joking. But still, dude, you're here. We have 2 guests in studio today. Rob.
I say we go for heart next.
Yeah, dog. You got to fucking start doing drugs or something. Bore that heart out.
Yeah, man. Get a kidney. Dude, I might get another arm. You know,
Whoa,
do something crazy. Yeah.
Don't get all greedy.
Play the violin or something.
Yeah, be that juggler who's cheating. Yeah, dude, come on.
But your listener base, man, the people that support you, Theo. I mean, there's a special. I know you know this.
Yeah.
It's a specialness to it.
Yeah, we got a special group, man.
There is. There's a core principle set, man. I do think that it anybody that I've met previously that knows me from the show, so to speak. Right?
Yeah.
Dude, I've had people from my past. I get like an old high school friend just reach out to me. Hey, I heard you on Theo's thing, man.
Yeah.
Like, people that I've met.
Yeah, people ask about you all the time. You and Riff Raff are probably two people that people ask me about the most.
Yeah, man.
You know, Riff Raff and fucking Breathe Rough. That's what I called you.
And here we are having them back-to-back weeks.
Yeah,
on
here
the
we are,
podcast.
back-to-back weeks. This past weekend.
We actually have some Patreon questions for Mickey that
Good.
came in, too. You want to?
That's awesome. And Johnny's going to start handling our Patreon questions a little bit more. What do we got, G?
Okay, so we have our first question is from Jacob Wells. Now that he's got these new hitters, is he considering any other upgrades, maybe calf implants? So we just,
Calf implants.
Yeah.
Oh man, dude. I would think that I would go for some
If you could pick, one
dude,
thing,
Dude, no, I know it'd be some new testicles. that's
Really?
For sure. Yeah.
Do your testicles get smaller when your lungs get smaller?
No, like too big.
Oh, you have big testicles? Oh, they get bigger.
Yeah.
Why?
Again, man, I think that vasculation, it just happens, man.
Really?
I mean, you know, and that's a ridiculous notion. I think that I'm good with the organs I have, but definitely if I were to switch one out, it'd be testicles.
You want bigger ones? Or you
No, I
smaller
want
ones?
smaller
Yeah.
testicles.
Testicles are a little too big, I think, overall. So that's Jacob Wells right there, my boy. I know him over from Oklahoma City, man. I've met him at a couple of comedy shows. He has like 9 brothers and sisters. None of them can chop wood, which was shocked me. Usually somebody can if you have that many.
And
you
in
know?
Oklahoma.
Oh, dude, definitely.
All right, we got our second one, Tommy Frederick. And he says, tell Mickey congrats on the double lung hitters. Does he have any plans for a gnarly tattoo on that horizontal chest scar?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Dude, shout out to my boy Billy Mayer. And he died, actually. He ate a bunch of pills and I think died in a Jeep Grand Cherokee, which I love those cars. But he got, one of his lungs gave out once and he got a shark like on the water coming up out of his own chest. It looked like a shark like breaching out of him into the universe. Pretty fucking dope. And I think had like a stripper on its back or something. This is down near like Florida, you know, West Pensacola. So that kind of stuff is popular.
The tattoo idea, I've thought about a lot of things. This is such a lame answer to say, but you're not supposed to get tattoos after your transplant, man.
What?
Specifically because
Why, are you Jewish all of a sudden?
there's a lot of issues that come with it. Man, there's certain things that I can't do. And it's the idea that there's ink poisoning within the blood.
I see.
So the idea, and if I were to get anything, it sounds super cheesy, and I'm gonna keep it real in this and I'll be stupid and silly, but I would get a rose on my wrist and or something on my finger, a rose. The rose represents cystic fibrosis. It's also known as I guess there's a story with it, but it's also called 65 roses. So the rose is kind of
A symbol
to CF, you know.
And how many have we cured it yet, or who's fighting it right now? Cystic fibrosis. How are we doing against it? Do you
Great
know?
question, man. We're doing pretty well. We're doing pretty well, man. I know that there's always new medicines that are coming out right now. As we talked about, man, we've got an acquaintance named my friend Amy, and she's doing amazing. Dude, she's 38.
Oh wow,
you know?
really? Yeah, I've met her at a couple of comedy shows. She has CF, I know, and she's obviously been a big supporter of yours, and she reached out a couple times to, and she said, "Hey, I was thinking about getting Mickey a 1-year transplant gift." She said, and maybe having come to your shows in New York, and I said, well, you know, I know Ridge actually. Ridge had talked about, you know, them front pocket carries, dude. You know, and there's no bigger front pocket carries than your damn lungs, and so. And so we all discussed it and emailed back and forth, and then here you are.
Yeah, Ridge made this happen today. They flew Mickey out first class. Him and his buddy from Detroit came out and put him up in an Airbnb.
Gang, man. You know what? And you know what's so funny is myself and the guy from Ridge talked about that probably, it must have been 50 weeks ago.
Wow.
You know, right after you got the transplant, we talked about it. And we wanted to go skydiving, and you and I talked about that, but you can't do it yet, or you have to wait.
Oh, dude, let's go, dude.
You could do it now?
Tonight, bro? What's up?
You can't do it at night.
Dude. Okay, well,
I mean,
let's do it tomorrow morning
you
before I
can.
fly out. How
Bro,
about
look,
that?
you're the lucky one. You can do it whenever you want. You know what I'm saying, bro? Death's probably fucking waiting for me.
Dude, no, man. I'd love to, but I wanted to talk about that real fast. Dude, Ridge hooked it up.
Did
man.
they?
Oh, Ridge is great.
That's cool, man.
Dude, I mean, I've told friends about it. They're like Ridge wallets for the holidays.
Yeah.
And they're thinking that's 7 months out, man.
Oh, damn,
but I mean, if you
crazy.
really think, no, they did, man. They flew me out here. They held up for lodging, and dude, he even came and asked me for some spending money, man.
He did?
Man.
That's
Ridge
awesome.
Ridge did me so well, and I mean, I'm so thankful for the opportunity.
No, it's cool, man.
Great, man.
And well, they just kept their word. It was funny because he and I were talking about it, and this was, they were one of our early sponsors who even was so supportive from the beginning, and then we just reached out to him randomly when a couple weeks ago, and next thing you know, they were like, yeah, 100%. They didn't think twice. Pretty cool.
Yeah,
a lot of people, all of us, we get nervous, we second guess, we don't know. But they didn't do that at all.
Yeah, we got one more Patreon question.
Okay.
So Megan Daly asked, what did he figure out that he wishes somebody had told him about the whole process that he would want people who are maybe going to have a transplant like he did to know in advance?
That's a great question.
It really
Megan?
is.
Oh man, could you repeat it one more time?
Yeah,
Drew?
of course.
Yeah.
So she said, what did he figure out that he wishes somebody had told him about the whole process that he would want people who are maybe going to have a transplant like he did to know in advance?
I would say that it's not. It's I'd say about like 20% physical and maybe the rest 80% mental. In
Wow.
the sense that regarding recovery, right?
Okay.
And I'm speaking of recovery, right? And what I mean by that
Recovery
is
from from the lung transplant.
from the transplant, right, man? Because like I said, a lot of people don't make it, man. It's hard. It's hard on your body. What I've been told by the nurses, it's probably the hardest thing you can go through.
Wow.
Like you'd think like an amputee or something like that. But once that's gone, it's gone. You cauterize. It's tragic. But something like, okay, let's suture up these new lungs that are in you. Now you got to acclimate. Again, your neuro's got to attach to this. It doesn't know what it's like. Getting back to it, it's completely mental.
Wow.
Right? The hardest thing I've ever done in my life was the first walk with those new lungs. It's excruciating, man, because you're relearning not just how to breathe, but man, I got all sorts of scars, man. I got like 6 different chest tubes coming out. I've got an epidural. I've got
Jesus.
multiple IVs. I got a catheter in my,
Yeah.
everything, man. And you say, let's take a walk. Because why? And why is that? Because we need this to get with this as soon as possible. You need to work this. If you don't work this, it'll be just as good as the ones you had taken out. And so again, it gets back to realize, okay, that you can. I know this about you, man. You said it before. Sometimes you just need to be there mentally more than you need to be there physically, right?
Yeah.
And I mean that in the sense of, man, I wanted to get up and go, but it was my friends and my support that was able to say, okay, we'll step along with you. We'll do this with you, right? As in to say, I didn't want to start, but you get me out the door and I'm out running.
Right. Yeah,
I'm out
just sometimes, you got to get your feet moving and your thoughts will follow.
That's right.
Wow,
That's right.
that's so interesting. It was 80% mental. So you think that for some people is just too much? That some people, it's
man,
hard.
It's hard, man. One of my best friends is, my best friend, he actually took care of me. He worked on the cardiothoracic ICU. And he's the one he can't take care of because I've known him for 10 years. His name is Troy. And he hand selected the nurses that would take care of me, right?
Okay.
And getting back to this, man, he's talked to me a lot about patients that he's seen. And everyone has their own experience, man. But a lot of it is just, again, getting that wherewithal, getting that fortitude, just be like, I'm going to do this. Instead of saying, you kind of got to go through the perspective of saying this, right? Well, man, I hate that there's this going on in my life. I hate that. In this case, man, I hate that I have to get this transplant. I feel weak. And instead you say like, how am I going to get this transplant done?
Yeah.
You know, instead of get this victimhood mentality out as fast as you can do that. You know, ooh, this is so hard. How am I? You know, what can I do? I don't know. I don't know if I can. To how can I?
I see. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that walk was so hard, man.
Now, what about this? You get a new piece of, you know, you get a new interior of these lungs, right? And you realize that these are interchangeable almost between humans, right? Not very easily, because you got to have the drugs and all of that, and you got to have them, you know, them training wheel pills. But did it give you a different perception of like your mother, your parents, that you're part of like a higher, that there's a higher power that's really our parent? Or does that make any sense kind of?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like when,
absolutely, man.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Does it or no?
Well, for real, yes, absolutely, man.
When you're like, oh, my parents gave me life, but there's, any of us could have any part of each other's life and still be.
Yeah.
Like,
It's crazy,
did
man.
you have any philosophical or faith issues or faith stuff that popped into you?
I guess the issue was that, and you and I've talked about this about a year ago, about the spirituality aspect, man. What came up to me now, I still lie on the fact that I'm not very dogmatic, but I've had, maybe you could say the same for yourself, dude. I've had some too many coincidences in my life for me to be here currently, especially in the condition that I'm in now. Dude, 1 year out, and I try not to say this from an egotistical standpoint, but 1 year out and having something like what I'm looking like or what I'm doing in life, man, I got a day job, which is like, dude, like, fuck that thing, but whatever, you know?
Yeah, but that's a means to an end, man.
And it's not just that, but
You
when
know,
I'm out there
we pay
doing it.
Gianni in underwear, so okay.
But
We're
being
all
that-
doing things,
That is
and he's
true.
in a new movie that's going to be in theaters in 2 weeks. So, but
You're
so
paying him through underwear.
that's how we do it, dude. Me undies, actually.
man.
Yeah,
That's for
soft.
life, probably, right?
I mean, no.
Yeah.
This is a week-to-week basis.
Yeah. I still haven't got my underwear for May yet.
Yeah, we need to look into that, Nick. Okay, sorry.
But yes, man. Again, getting back to it, I just think that for everything to be in place, for me to be in live personally, again, subjective experience, it's just too close to comfort to say there's something out there that's gotta have me going on.
Right.
Because again, man,
Yeah,
there's
I
just
would-
so many people that die so fast after transplant, and then there's some rare, crazy thing like me where it's 10 days and he's better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow. Yeah, does it feel like there's any real reason to it, or do you feel like it's like, is it an added responsibility?
Yeah. I used to struggle with it.
Do you ever wish, like, man, it would have been, if I would have just passed away, it would have just been, you know, it would have been like, you know, like sometimes movies, it's like the person survives and sometimes they don't. And sometimes the movie's good either way, but it's a different type of good. You know, it's a different type of special. It's a different type of value. Does that ever pop in your head?
No, man.
Like, not in an ungrateful way.
I get what you're saying,
Okay.
man. I think that if anything, the big responsibility that I have personally, that I do undertake, is to make the best out of these lungs. And not just that, man, but dude, even from me to you, whether it's Nick, who I just met like a couple hours ago, anyone that I've ever really come into contact with, that there's some sort of responsibility that I take within myself to say, okay, this person is rooting for me in some form or fashion, and I got this second chance. And not only that, somebody died, and maybe he didn't die for me to live, but he died and he granted me that way to live.
Right, he'd made that choice that he
Whatever.
wanted to give his lungs up.
Right. And now with that said, man, and I could do this later, but I want to reach out to the family, but I've got to say, I'm like, okay, I have to make the best of it, and not just in a way of like, oh, let's party in Cancun all week or nothing, but it's more of, okay, you know what? I use it as an inspiration, as fuel, as to say, okay, you got to do your best now, man, because this is not just your life at some point.
Right.
Somebody else is in you.
Did you do enough Google research and to kind of put the piece together and know who it is?
No, that would be crazy. No, I kind of didn't want to know yet.
Yeah.
'Cause there is a little bit of that, right? I want to be able to reach out to the family one day, because I just like to show
And have them
that-
be proud of their son, kind of?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, man. I
So
mean,
you almost want to get to a certain like place in your own life where you can be like, hey, 4 years ago I got these from your son. It really, Yeah, that'll happen. I guess obviously it'll just happen when it's supposed to. You know.
Do you remember when you and I talked on the phone? There was like that, and I was like, "Dude, Theo, one of the reasons why I haven't reached out to you yet is because I don't feel like I'm at where I want to be yet."
Yeah, and that's so crazy that you thought like that we wanted, or that was some expectation. You know, you're kind of just like the mascot in a way, or not just like the mascot, but I feel like you kind of took on that role.
Yeah,
it was like you know, and it's all. I mean, and in a lot of ways, it's. You know, hearing this today and hearing you talk about just life and everything, it kind of like slows everything down a little bit and just kind of, you know, it's a breath of fresh air, as gay as that sounds, and not gay and like a gay where if you're sleeping with someone who has the same sex as you, it's okay.
I have one last question for Mickey.
Okay.
So do you ever
worst
like
allergies right now? Is this for allergies?
Dude, no, dude, that's something
Theo,
else.
that's cystic fibrosis
I didn't even see him
medicine, dude.
squirt it in though. You know, that's what.
No, this is I'm supposed to be on this. Okay, let's just be honest. Okay.
I think you just missed that heavy snort. Just
Oh, I definitely missed that part of it. You know.
back in your Coke days, you know?
Oh, dude.
I think people got that from what I said, Gianni.
Look, if Nick wanted to, you know, if Gianni wanted to keep his fucking his job, he fucking those with Coke.
Yeah, you
against
better
my-
watch it, dude.
against
Those
my
briefs
will.
are coming off real fast.
Oh no, but my question was, like, do you ever feel like now obviously you feel like you have a new lease on life and things are awesome. Do you ever feel like sometimes that you like a random day that you fall into like not so much a depression, but like kind of like a negative state of mind, or like you wake up and you don't want to get out of bed? Like, do you still fall into that and be like, fuck, like I just don't want to do it today? And like, or same thing with like the AT&T bill. Like, do you think sometimes fall into like, fuck, I got to pay this bill? Like, do you fall into that mindset sometimes?
There's a couple things on that, man. Yes, I do. I went through so many on and off depressions before the transplant that what I realized, man, was that my sadness and my distress came from a circumstance, man. I didn't realize. Now being out of it, I realize how jovial, how excited I am to live life. Not because of the fact maybe that, yes, I get a second chance, but I think this is always who I was. And to realize, oh, the reason why you felt that isolation, the sadness, and always looking back and never forward is because of a specific circumstance, which was my health, for one. And, you know, and secondly, there was months, man. There were months when I couldn't show up. I had a hard time, man. I almost went to like a teenage state. I played a bunch of video games.
Yeah.
You know, and I think what was happening is, as I was telling you, Theo, man, it happened so fast. In 2 to 3 weeks time, it's like a 5-week period. You're on your deathbed and then go relive life. There's too much emotion that happens in one time, and I think that time where I reverted back to this status of, you know, when I was in early high school or something, and there was a second thing you noted there too that was really specific to me, man. I just feel as if, again, the big thing that gets me out of the door is. Man, there's someone that died out there, and I got to make them proud.
Yeah.
And I try to use that as an inspiration. Yeah, there are times where I falter, man. I think we all do. But it's still like I hold it for a second, let it go, and then like let's get better at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Trick Long, man. Michael. I didn't even know it was Michael. I was doing Trick Long Mickey,
I try
man.
to keep that one in the back pocket, man. That one's like, because Mickey's got that like that.
Well, Mickey's got some pizzazz.
Yeah, it's got a flex to it, right?
Yeah,
It's got
I
a little
think so.
kick ass.
Hey, Mickey, yeah.
Yeah, and we talked about it too. Look Italian, dude. So
Oh,
you
yeah.
might as well.
Oh, yeah, you look way more Italian than I thought you were going to look when I met you.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it could be
Sleeper.
anything. This guy could be Slavic, you know, whatever. Anything could pop out of this guy, you know? You have that Bert, like kind of Bert from Bert and Ernie, like could be a friend, a cousin. But you know what I'm saying? He's a handsome guy. Ernie looked like shit. Remember Ernie?
Bert was not that much better. What are you talking about?
I think he was. Will you bring up Bert for us real quick, Nick? He was the handsomer of the two by far, dude.
Well, they're both ventriloquism, dude, right?
No, they are not ventriloquism, man. Let's just... Yeah, man.
He's got a full-on unibrow.
No, he doesn't, dude.
He does, dude. Look, do you have look?
I mean,
at
we
him,
have a
bro.
look at Ernie.
Look,
He has no brow.
dude. You know what?
Ernie can't even close his mouth, dude. So He's gonna need new lungs soon, probably, just because of the bad air he's ingesting.
Yeah, man. Bernie's got that.
I look like Ernie a little bit more, actually, now that I mention it.
Trying to come out like Brendan Schaub.
Mickey, that new lease on
that.
life, man, it's inspiring, dude.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see what you do in the next year.
Yeah, well, thank you, man. I appreciate
Yeah,
that,
nah,
man.
it's just so awesome. Thank Rich for bringing you here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And they didn't even call and say that. They didn't even call and say, you got to thank us or anything like that. Oh, we had some gifts for, we have that?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
Gian-
great,
yeah.
man.
Get that stuff, Gianni. You got to be able to defend yourself right here.
Yeah, man. I might put two of them on my lungs just to keep.
Oh, yeah, that's a great idea. So there's 2 bags right there.
You got a
Thank
duffel,
you,
you got a backpack, we got a couple wallets for you. You
man.
can give your buddy
Sammy,
Sammy,
yeah, that's right,
Sammy
yeah.
one of those, and of course
There you
a
go.
knife in case you need to perform any of your own transplants.
Ridge does knives?
They do knives, dude. Look, and they're sharp, bro. So don't pierce one of your new sacks, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure, dude.
So you got that Ridge. Yeah, man. A couple front pocket carries there. Dude, they got some good stuff, man. I still use my Ridge wallet. I still have it. It's in my bag, but
Yeah. Well, they did so well, man. This place that we're staying at has been great.
Oh, nice.
Just the flight, everything. They've just been so accommodating, for real.
It was cool. They gave us their word and they honored it, man, and that's pretty remarkable these days. Oh man, thank you, bro.
Dude,
I just
thank
needed
me.
to see you today. I didn't even realize I just needed to see you and just kind of like have a bit of a reconnection, you know, to what's going on just with the podcast and just like on a lot of levels, man.
Let me, if I can, what do you get from it? I'm curious.
Get from what?
Just whatever I have to offer and the way that I say things, man. You mentioned this, right? Where you're like, man, I'd love to connect in this way. What do you receive from me and my story or whatever and what I'm talking about? What
Well,
do you
I think
get from
it makes
man?
me think. It's a good question. It makes me think about just being alive and stuff like that, and reminds me of just to have value. You know, reminds me to think like a little bit more in the space of gratitude, and that, you know, to see someone else and hear about their struggle and their journey. It reminds me of my sister some. It makes me think about, you know, just recognizing that she goes through more than I realize probably a lot of times, and you know, she still does a great job as a parent and a nurse, and I don't think about that a lot of times, you know.
She's a nurse?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because she spent so much time around him. There was nothing else to be, really, you know. And what else, man? It just makes me think about the community that's part of this past weekend, you know. I mean, so many times people will be like, how's Mickey doing? How's Mickey doing? And I'll be like, oh, you know, I texted with him, or we've kept in touch some, or I haven't talked to him in a few months. I don't know. We were thinking about, you know, trying to get him down for the podcast, and we talked about going skydiving a while back, but the bags weren't ready, you know. But now, you know, they're ready. I don't know. It's cool, man, and it makes me think, okay, good. Like, you know, we see you now at a year, and then what will your life be like at 2 years? You know, when you have this, you know, little batch of reincarnation going on.
Yeah, man.
You know, it's like a mascot, I guess. I think you kind of stand for kind of some of the stuff that, you know, we think about and feel about in here.
Yeah. Wow.
You know?
I'm happy to be a part of it, man.
Yeah. So
absolutely,
go
man.
put some pressure on yourself and fucking get it done. Damn, he's fast hands, huh?
Yeah.
Dude, you fucking jujitsu or slap people, bro. You could slap people good because nobody would see it coming, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Silent now with the breathing, too.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Can you breathe silently?
I don't need to breathe sometimes. And that's kind of real.
Oh my God.
He's saving those lungs.
Do you ever hold your breath?
Often.
Wow, what a psychopath. Huh? Other people with cystic fibrosis must think you are a psycho.
No, dude, they're wanting to do what I'm doing.
They are?
Oh, for sure. They're like, dude, I breathe so hard all the time.
Oh, breathe so
Maybe-
hard, motherfuckers trying to
Maybe
find
let's
you.
not breathe.
That shit. Yeah, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah, man. No, I mean, I do. I just kind of like, sometimes I'll just say, let me just try to hold my breath for as long as possible. And I'll just do that for hours, dude. Like,
Oh, that's a dark
hang
arts,
out,
man.
just like, clock watch and everything, you know, do it.
That's the dark arts, dude. You're here, bro.
Yeah.
The Larry Bird of fucking airbags right here, dude. Don't give up on him. Michael Jordan joining the Wizards. Trick Lung Mickey, man. Thanks for being here, bud.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you guys. Gianni, Premature Nick. We'll see you guys next time.
Now I'm just floating on the breeze, and I feel I'm falling like these leaves. I must be cornerstone. Oh, but when I reach that ground, I'll share this peace of mind I found. I can feel it in my bones, but it's gonna take a little time for me to set that parking brake and let myself unwind. Shine